Throughout its history, myth and folklore have enshrouded the cat. Near Oxford, England, scientists have been exploring whether the legendary solitude of the cat is fact or fiction, or can cats adapt successfully to living in groups.
What? What? What?
Bert Parker has kept farm cats for more than half a century, as many as 80 at a time.
What? Come on.
A good cat is worth a lot. She's a valuable asset to any farm. Our cats have increased. There's a few more than what we really need, but what do? You just let them go on. They do keep the rats and mice down to a limit. I don't say they have every one, but they do catch up with them at the finish.
But what happens when this usually solitary animal lives in close quarters with so many others? Oxford University professor David MacDonald has studied farm cats since 1978.
Why is it that people have tended to typecast cats as antisocial, as solitary creatures? I think there's two reasons. One of them could be that the sorts of things that cats do socially are not the sorts of things that classically people have had in mind when they thought about wild animal societies. And I think that's because cat society is based on a rather subtle, covert language. And the sorts of signals that pass between cats, and the one I personally think is important is this business of rubbing, where one individual rubs its lips and its cheek against another individual, happen very quickly, they happen very rarely, and if you're not tuned into looking for it, you just don't see it. So I think people have spent their lives living amongst cats and formed an impression which hasn't taken into account the subtlety of the relationships that occur between the cats themselves. So, 12 years ago, I began all this by asking myself the question, are farm cats part of a real society, or are they nothing more than the equivalent of, say, mosquitoes flocking around a bright light in the dark? It turns out that they are living in a society, and therefore it's a bit irritating in a sense that one hears so many people saying, oh, the only sociable felids, the only sociable members of the cat family as a large group are lions. That having been said, there are a lot of similarities between these barnyard lions that we have around here and the lions that we're ever more familiar with from programs and researches about the African lions.
Lions are the only wild cats that normally live in a group, called a pride. At its core are the adult females, usually related. Researchers have discovered that within a pride, the females look after and nurse each other's cubs. Here, 3 different females allow the same cub to nurse. Though a lioness gives preference to her own cubs when they want a nurse, at times she will allow younger sisters or brothers, nieces, nephews, or grandchildren to join in too. David MacDonald was intrigued that among farm cats, the same communal behavior occurs.
Comes and spends a bit of time.
A student, Warner Passanese, often follows the cats around the clock, just as naturalists do in the wild.
Their litters together.
Is this a habitual den site? I mean, have they been here before?
It is. These 2 particular females haven't been here before that I've seen.
Oh, look, yes, there's the second one.
That's right. So we have, generally, the females take it in turn to suckle these kittens. Again, indiscriminately, any kitten that is there is suckled.
And there's absolutely no discrimination between them. They all suckle equally
there is none.
from the 2 mothers.
There is none.
Excellent.
Although unrelated females may help each other in this way, generally the behavior only follows bloodlines. Mothers, daughters, and sisters cooperate most often. But it is quite possible that other related females will also nurse and care for the kittens, much like an extended family. 6 weeks old, this kitten has begun only recently to explore on his own. Today, he has accidentally become separated from his mother. Out of hearing range, she knows nothing of her kitten's dilemma. A related female hears him but does nothing. He starts back uncertainly. Out in the barnyard, and still no sight of his mother. He comes upon the related female, now nursing her own litter. Hungry, tired, the kitten is willing to risk hostility to get close to her. In the end, she accepts the tiny, distressed explorer. Why should the females behave this way? Once more, the behavior of lions held the clue. A behavior not of care and comfort, but of savagery and death. In this graphic film footage, the cameraman bears horrified witness to a systematic and vicious killing. As 3 terrified cubs huddle nearby, a male lion prepares to brutally attack and kill one of their sisters. When there is a successful takeover of a pride, the new dominant male kills the cubs of the ousted male. Thus, the female will come into heat sooner. The new male can then mate with her and thereby perpetuate his own genes. The barnyard again was to prove remarkably like the plains of Africa. MacDonald recalls the events leading to a gruesome discovery.
As I watched at the communal den with these 4 sets of kittens all together, 9 kittens in total, the scene was really a very intimate one. The kittens were, as you can imagine, a chocolate box scene in amongst straw bales. Their nest was built in amongst a stack of bales, and a narrow passageway led into the kittens, and they were all just piled on top of each other, and each mother would come and go from that den, each suckling the kittens indiscriminately. And on this occasion, I was watching this nest of kittens, and in slunk the male. Then within just a few seconds, this commotion brought the mothers running, but not soon enough, because by the time the mothers came back and chased away this interloping male, of the 9 kittens that had been in that communal den to start with, 6 of them were slain. So I think we've come up with 2 answers, both of them perhaps rather surprising, to why cats may benefit individually from living communally. One of them is that they can look after each other's young by sharing the load of nursing, and the other is that females may be able to repel murderous males.
Thus, cooperative care by a number of females increases the likelihood that more kittens, even orphans, will be watched over and thereby protected. What other unexpected parallels may exist between these barnyard lions and their wild cousins is yet to be discovered. In another English village, the image of cats as ruthless killers was confirmed in a different way. It began with a local teacher. Peter Churcher has taught biology at the Bedford School for 15 years.
Those two will have started before that one, and of course it's important that they all start at the same time, isn't it? Right, so back to the beginning.
A cat owner himself, Churcher applied the discipline of his scientific training to explore the unseen world of the house cat on the prowl. Throughout England, indeed in much of the world, cats are let outdoors to roam the neighborhood at will. How much impact on wildlife, Churcher wondered, do cats actually have? Unable to follow the cats, he did the next best thing and enlisted the help of their owners.
Well, the first thing was to go around the village and just find out who had cats. And so I knocked on everybody's door and said, had you got a cat, and were you willing to take part in the survey? And surprisingly enough, virtually everybody in the village did. And that meant that I had something around 78 cats to start off with, which was a good number.
Oh, hello.
Morning, Marjorie. Have the cats called anything this week?
Yes, one little body for you. Ready and waiting.
Thanks very much. Well, that's nice. Yeah, that's a field vole. Who caught it?
Eccles.
Eccles again?
Yes, the black and white one. He's quite a good hunter for us, isn't he?
Yes, actually, the others don't seem to be catching very much.
Laziness, I would say.
Laziness, yes.
Peter.
Lovely.
I think is it Woodmouse Field?
I was very surprised at how cooperative the owners were in the survey. I think a lot of people don't like the idea of picking up dead bodies and putting them in polythene bags, but most of the people in the village gritted their teeth and did it. And some even went as far as to put them in the deep freeze, which was nice because, as you can imagine, at the end of a week in the summer, often the dead bodies were getting rather smelly, and it was pleasant to have them put in the deep freeze before I got hold of them.
To work and look at that under the microscope. That's Wednesday.